Hi everybody. This is the first time I've appeared face-to-face on my YouTube channel, but I wanted to for a couple of reasons. First of all, I've not been able to post any DXing videos lately because of the move that I made, that you may know about if you've been following my channel, to Beijing, China. And I am here in the Chinese capital, right next to the shortwave broadcaster, not just shortwave broadcaster, international broadcasting outlet that you all know, China Radio International. It has been a wonderful move so far. I love my job. For the most part, I love my coworkers. The show I work on, the Beijing Hour, airs twice daily at 7 p.m. Beijing time and 7 a.m. Beijing time. I can't do the UTC conversion in my head. I would have been able to do it a few weeks ago when I was thinking in UTC, but when you haven't been listening to shortwave, you stop keeping Zulu time in the back of your head. As you can imagine, it will be difficult. I'm going to take my glasses off, getting some glare. It will be difficult for me to listen to shortwave radio in such an environment, living literally a few hundred meters from the front door of one of the biggest, the biggest, still broadcasting international outlet. Not all of the transmitters, in fact, most of the transmitters are not near my location, but there are several, and it is an urban environment, a high RF interference environment. I got a cheap shortwave receiver, just borrowed it from the broadcast department. I think it was a Texan PL310 or something like that, just to see, and threw out a piece of copper wire that they gave me. I just asked them for it. Threw a piece of copper wire out of my 9th story window. Was able to pick up some signals, but there's definitely a lot of interference and a lot of challenges to shortwave listening in an environment like this. I had been spoiled, frankly, because I was living in a non-populated area with underground power lines, underground cable lines, underground phone lines. We did not use satellite television. We used cable television. I was able to unplug our wireless router whenever I wanted to DX. And I lived on a hill that well above a fairly small size city. So I was spoiled. Now things are quite different. I've got a lot of challenges to get around to get back into DXing here, but I intend to continue utility DXing and broadcast DXing from my location. I will figure out how to do it. If I can't do it from my apartment, I have already located some great green spaces in the city, some places right outside of the city that I can access fairly easily, and could do some urban de-expeditions. I know that there's still a lot that can be picked up. The interference is just something I'm going to have to work through and work around. And so bear with me. I have a Texan PL660 coming in the mail hopefully tomorrow. I ordered it from a Chinese retailer for next to nothing. The 880 is not available here, but I'm not sure if I would have gone with the 880 again. On the one hand, I have the 880 at home. I didn't bring it because you're not allowed to bring radio receivers into China. Or you are, but you have to pay an import duty fee, and it just wasn't worth it. So I left it home with my family so they can listen to me on CRI. So I'm anxious to try the 660. I actually hear that it is a great and in some ways a superior radio to the 880. Doesn't have a lot of the quirks that the 880 has, and is very sensitive. which worries me a bit because sensitivity can be your friend or your enemy in an environment like this. But I am determined to bring you guys great videos and to focus the videos that I'm going to produce on DXing in less than ideal conditions, because I think I am in the granddaddy of less than ideal conditions living next to CRI. And if I can DX living next to CRI, then you can absolutely DX anywhere. And I'll try to go in this direction rather than in the direction of more general shortwave listening videos, because I think the information is already out there. There are two excellent channels on YouTube, HamRaid88, that's Tom, and official SWL channel, and he is just absolutely phenomenal. His knowledge about HF radio is just, he's a walking encyclopedia. The guy's great. So my future videos will be themed on DXing in less than ideal DX conditions, and possibly some medium wave DXing, because that will be slightly easier. Not because RF interference isn't going to be an issue with medium wave, of course it is, but the medium wave spectrum is not as overpopulated here as it is in the United States. So it will be easier to identify stations that I'm hearing piled up on a given frequency, because the pileups will not be as overpopulated as the frequencies are in the U.S. Medium wave DXing in the U.S. I just got such a migraine every time I tried it that I never really got into it. Here I'll see what I can do. Time signal DXing, of course, is still going to be a big focus of mine. BPM, China, I'll obviously pick up that on every frequency that I can, and will hunt out other Pacific time signal and utility stations as I am able. The 660 does have single sideband. It does not have the upper sideband, lower sideband mode that the 880 has, nor does it have the higher tuning resolution. When you go into single sideband, I'll have to use a BFO, which is fine. But having used the ICOM R75 and the 880, I got used to not having to fiddle around with traditional beat frequency oscillators. And in fact, I dislike BFOs so much. It's one of the reasons why I got rid of my Grundig Satellite 750 in the first place. But there's more to come, and in the meantime, I invite you guys to listen to the Beijing Hour on CRI. I'll post a link below. You'll be able to recognize me on voiceovers. I did the weather on the broadcast today, and we are planning on launching a weekend version of the show, and I'm told that I will have a lot more on-air duties for that weekend version that we're launching. It is something else to be on the other side of shortwave radio and to see what goes into bringing all of you shortwave listeners good quality programming. And that is really what CRI aims to do. I've had to deal with a lot of haters, you might say, on the free radio forums saying, "Oh, you're a propagandist, blah 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 this, blah 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 that," and that's, CRI strives to give China's perspective on world events in the same way that Voice of America gives America's perspective on world events, in the same way that Radio New Zealand gives New Zealand's perspective on world events. All we're doing is providing a service to the listening public in giving them a viewpoint that otherwise would not be available, and that is often misrepresented in Western media. And I don't dislike Western media, other than, say, Fox News and some idiots on the AM radio dial. I just think that there's a wider sphere of information out there, and respecting the viewpoint of different countries, different national experiences, is one of the benefits of listening to shortwave radio. So if you do not regularly listen to CRI's English broadcast, I invite you to do so. There's quite a lot there, and not only online, but on shortwave, and several FM relay stations throughout the world, including in North America, Canada, Europe, all around. All right, guys, so I will see you when I conduct my first HF experiment in the RF jungle that I now inhabit. And I look forward to it, and I welcome your comments, your suggestions. Feel free to call me a propagandist all you want in the comments below. I'm used to it by now. Use as much colorful language as you want. Like, really, I am flattered that some people have strong enough feelings about China and its broadcasting service to channel that to just a trained journalist who has gone to work for its external broadcasting service. All right, guys, 73, and I'll see you in the next video, coming very soon. All right, this is Spencer Shortwave, SWL DX8. That's Sugar, Walter, Lima, Delta, X-Ray, 8. Signing off, 73.